Hey guys, for today's video I wanted to talk to you about why it's so important to watch what you repeatedly say about yourself or other people. So what I mean by this is the things that you repeat about yourself will often end up becoming truer over time. In my own case, I can give you a great example. When I was a lot younger and I was still living with my parents, I used to say I was hungry all the time. And one thing I noticed was that the more that I said I was hungry, guess what ended up happening? I ended up being hungry all the time, and I had no one to blame but myself. You see, I didn't quite understand how the placebo and nocebo effect worked. So I didn't realize that the more I repeated something, the more I would believe it, and the more I would make it come true. So be careful what you repeatedly say about yourself. For an example, I know a lot of people will repeat negative things about themselves to other people. Like sometimes they'll just make a joke out of putting themselves down to others, and they'll say it all the time. And while it may be funny, over time you may start affecting your own self-esteem without realizing it, because you're putting yourself down all the time just to make other people happy. So that's one example of where you may not realize you could be doing this. Or just with other people, we can also do it as well. If you're constantly telling your friends or a family member or even a romantic partner, if you're constantly describing them in a certain way, for instance, I know in relationships, oftentimes someone can say, like, you never listen to me. Well, if you continually repeat that to your partner, you may find that over time, they're going to end up not listening to you as much. They'll start to basically live out what you're saying. So in a way, the things that you constantly repeat will end up becoming self-fulfilling prophecies. And I can go into the psychology behind when you use it against other people. It's actually because you'll often end up treating them in a way, or in the way that you constantly describe them. So if you say that somebody never listens to you, you're probably going to become a lot shorter with them over time, and your patience with them is going to just decrease. And that's going to affect the way you treat them. So inevitably, you're going to start treating them in a way that's going to make them not want to listen to you anymore. So do you see how this works? And with your own self, it's probably a bit to do with the placebo and nocebo effect, where you could literally be rewiring your brain based on what you're constantly telling yourself or how you say you constantly feel. So it's of utmost importance that you be careful what you repeatedly say. Don't make the mistake I made of saying that I was hungry all the time, because it ended up happening. It made me hungrier. So now I'm really careful in the way that I describe myself, and I try not to say anything that's going to be disempowering for me, and I try to do the same thing for other people. I try not to describe others in negative ways that's going to end up becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy over time. Instead, what I aim to do is try to describe other people in ways that uplift them and make them better over time. So I hope you can see how this is something that you really should pay attention to in your own life, because you may not realize how you're doing this. So just pay attention to the way that you repeatedly describe yourself to other people, or the way that you describe other people to themselves. Just be very careful of it, because this is something that will have an impact in all of our lives. And being aware of it is incredibly important. So I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But before I go, look at this awesome view. See you guys.